And it's like, man, I just saw him like seconds ago, and he's not walking up there, and then maybe he'll come up any minute. And I couldn't see him. And I thought, oh, he couldn't be. I said, he can't be drowning, because if he is, we're in such trouble. That's how my mind was working. So I remember I dove into the water. And when I got down in there, I'm opening my eyes and I'm looking around. It's kind of murky. But I'm looking around going, is my friend down here? Is my friend down here? And right about when I was about to go up and to get a breath of water, I saw my friend underwater just kind of floating limply. And it was like panic. And I just instinctively, shot over toward him to grab him. And when I grabbed him, he kind of, moved a little bit. And I'm like, oh, no. And at that point, my lungs were about to burst. And all I could think was, I've got to get to the surface. I've got to get to the surface. And I grabbed him, actually, I think around the neck. And I'm trying to get up to the surface. And at that, I was tempted to just let go because I needed air. But somehow I didn't, and we got up to the surface, and when we did, I pulled him on shore. And I think when I dropped him, he kind of coughed a little bit, and the first words out of his mouth were, "Don't tell my mother." It's been enough years now, I think it's okay that I tell the story. But all that feeling of being underwater and needing air, and I will do anything to get to the surface. That's almost like when we don't have money. We don't have enough money. It's like, I need money. I got to have money. I am so stressed. Things are so bad. I'm going to die. And we will do whatever it takes to get money. We will beg. We will borrow. We will steal. Right? Isn't that what we do? We'll beg. We'll borrow. We'll use other people's money to try to meet needs or get things that we want with the promise that we will pay it back, plus a little bit over time. Or we'll steal. We'll take stuff that doesn't belong to us, but we just need stuff. We need money. This is where you don't have enough money, you get a little desperate. Now, begging is kind of humiliating. And stealing, that's just wrong, right? That's just sin. And borrowing is just not wise. The Bible never classifies it as sin. It's not that. But it's really dangerous and under most circumstances simply not wise. In fact, here's what the scripture says. It says the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is what? Slave to the lender. I mean, it's like, oh, dial it back, God. Isn't that a little harsh? No. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. You see, when we borrow money, we basically take on a form of indentured servanthood to the one who lent us money. And now, the person who lent us money has a measure of control over our lives. They're going to control our future income. And we are now working to make them rich. It's like indentured servanthood. Back after America was founded, and in the early 1600s when it began to be settled, indentured servanthood was the rage. Here's what would happen. They would go back over to the European continent, and they would offer to people, generally poorer people, this offer. They would say, if you will come over to America and work for us, okay, we will pay your way over. We will sign a contract that says you will work for us anywhere from 3 to 7 years. Most commonly it was 5. At the end of 5 years, we'll give you room and board. At the end of 5 years, we will then let you go free. We will give you some small, termination bonus, and then you can start your own life in America. There were many, many of those people who said, I could never get to America on my own. And I want to forge a new life for myself, and I really want that. So, because I don't have the money to get there myself, I'll go ahead and sign the contract and become an indentured servant. And they got free ride over. Then they went to their large plantation or business owner, and they would begin working as a servant, an indentured servant. They got no money, but they got room and board, but they were paying off their debt so that in 5 years or so they could be free. It almost never worked that way for an indentured servant. Turns out there was fine print in the contract. And like when days were missed because of sickness or injury or whatever, they were always added to the end. Whenever the work wasn't done very well, many of the plantation owners would just extend the length of the contract. While they were working off those years were spent in incredibly difficult labor and harsh conditions. It was hard. In addition to that, when those years were finally done, and they were set free, there was virtually no land left for them to buy because it had all been gobbled up. In fact, many of the indentured servants began to go westward into the wilderness, into the mountain where things were harsh, things were unsettled, they were attacked by Native Americans. It was a rough life. And there was such a growing population of angry former indentured servants that ended the practice because it became too complicated. Yeah, see, it wasn't quite the deal that they thought it was going to be, and it was a lot harder, and the promise wasn't there. When we borrow money under so many of the circumstances that we do, we are just simply practicing a form of indentured servanthood, and what we are doing is we're giving control of our financial future to someone else, and we begin to work to make somebody else wealthy. But it's the kind of thing that we will do because you've got to have money. Gotta have money. And Jesus knew that. He knew it was necessary. He knew if we didn't have it, we'd get desperate. He just knew that. You know what else Jesus knew about money? Jesus knew that money is power. It is amazing what money can do. Amazing. It's amazing the doors it can open. It's amazing the things it can accomplish. It is amazing the influence that it can give. Money is powerful. Think about that. The power of money. Now, one of the things we need to understand about money's power is it's an amoral power. Money is neither inherently good or inherently bad. It just inherently is. It just inherently is powerful. But in and of itself, it's neither a positive nor a negative power. It's just a power. Many people get confused and they think that Christianity teaches that money is evil, money is bad, and it's not. But they think it is because after all, doesn't the Bible say money is the root of all evil?
No.
Nope. Yeah, it doesn't. Some of you Bible scholars knew that. I mean, here's what it actually says. It says, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Money is an evil. Loving money is a problem. And we'll talk about that problem in just a little bit. But money in and of itself is not evil. It's like this. If you have money, that does not make you a bad person. If you don't have money, that does not make you a good person. There are good people who have lots of money and who have no money. There are bad people who have lots of money and who have no money. Money is just this thing. But you know what money will do? It will take on the characteristics of the person who has it. It's chameleon-like. And because money is powerful, if it's in the heart of a bad person, then that power will be used in bad kinds of ways. And if that money, which is a power, is in the control of a person with a good heart, it tends to be used in good kinds of ways.